Hey, this is Vinny. I just wanted to inform you that your comments may or may not be shown on screen tonight. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Law and Disorder. We've got a lot to talk about tonight, and I was told to stay with one subject, but that's very hard for Vinny Parco to be on one subject. So we're going to try to get as much out as we can. All right. Everything is so crazy lately. I make notice of a lot of different things. I try to bring them on the show, try to give my opinions and my perception of what's going on. One of the things that and this is not good news, not bad news. It's actually bad news. In England, one of the women that runs the BLM in England was shot in the head during a rally by probably one of her own people. Okay, they don't know, but they'll find out. Now it's kind of unusual because in England, you very rarely hear about shooting. Usually stabbings. They stab each other like crazy over there, but not guns. So this could be very serious. Now, keep in mind that BLM has a lot of money. They've been getting money from Pepsi Cola, from Ford, from all these different companies. This woke bullshit that's out. Okay. Now, I don't know if you remember, if any of you people out there remember, many years ago, Malcolm X was a name to be reckoned with the black Muslims, and he got shot and killed, unfortunately. And it was alleged that Elijah Muhammad, who was the titular leader of the Black Muslim nation in the United States, was behind it. And ironically, I was in high school at the time, and I did a story, a perm paper on Elijah Muhammad. No, not for any particular reason, but I was assigned that. And what I found was that it contradicts everything that they claim about being black. He had a white mistress. He lived in a very white building in New Jersey called the Galaxy. I found out a lot of stuff about him, which was kind of contradictory. But the reason I brought it up is I think what's going on with Black Lives Matter and with an analogy with the Black Muslims is that there's a power struggle. There's a lot of money involved. And one of the leaders of the Black Lives Matter, who happens to be an avowed Marxist, a communist, bought 3 homes, one of them $1.4 million. Where'd she get this money? Now, it's possible she took money out of BLM. It's possible she made money on her own, but it just doesn't look right. It has an air of impropriety. But some of the people in BLM must say, hey, wait a minute, she's buying houses, maybe without money. And, nobody has a real accounting of what they have. Now, I don't believe that they're a 501c, a nonprofit organization. So you really don't have access to see what they're, as you know, a 501c, anybody can look up their record. It's public record. So now, today's the anniversary of George Fentanyl Floyd, who is a martyr for the cause. And I say that sarcastically. He was a drug addict. He rapist. He pulled a gun on a woman, pregnant woman, put the gun in her stomach, all these things. And he resisted arrest, and he was killed by a police officer. Unfortunately, I believe the police officer was wrong on what he did. However, they deified him. They made him a god. I mean, unbelievable. But yesterday, on his anniversary, somebody got shot on his George Floyd square. They made a square for him. And I just think it's coincidental that the violence begets violence. This is what's happening in major cities. And if you notice, most of the major cities that have high crime are democratic cities. Now, why? Now I'm going to analyze that. Why are they high crime? Number one, they're very lax with the police. They want to defund the police. They take money away from the police budget. They demonize the police and make the police look bad. Now, for a few bad cops, they make everybody look bad. Now, why don't we just switch that? Well, let's say for a few bad blacks, every black is bad. No, they can't say that. Or for every Italian, for every mafia that you know, every Italian's a mafia. You can't do that, but they do that. They vilify the cops. Now, cops are retiring in mass. Cops are saying, hey, wait, I'm not going to put up with this baloney, okay? A cop has 20, 22 years on the job, 20, whatever. He says, you know what, I'm packing it in. I'm not going to, what if I make an arrest, a legitimate arrest, but something goes wrong? And then I get in trouble, and I have to defend myself, and I have to go through this whole thing. No, it's not right. You even got cops that don't have pensions leaving. Now, a lot of these cities that have defunded police and lower the budgets are having major crimes, and the crime rate is spiraling out of control. And I think they're realizing what's going on. I mean, you know, they're saying, wait a minute, less cops, more crime. Maybe we should, and some of these cities have been trying to hire back up, but a lot of cops don't want it. A lot of people don't want this job. I wouldn't, I took a knee in his honor. God bless. That's John Coughlin. All right, John. All right. I like your attitude. Just don't, no more comments. Okay. What do you call? We have a situation. Most of the major cities where you have the crime are heavily black. Okay. And the blacks are killing each other. And they don't get it. It's not about whites killing blacks. It's blacks killing blacks. And they don't address it. They have no, look at Chicago. You have a black mayor who is like, she looks like she's some sort of character from a horror movie. And by the way, she won't let anybody that's not of color interview her. So Candace Owens, a very influential black conservative, I love her to death, says, I want to interview her. Let's see if she denies her. And I want to see what's going to happen with that. And we'll talk about that in a future episode here. Also, she has a white wife. Well, she's a lesbian, so I guess I don't know if she's the man or the woman. I don't. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But, and by the way, her and her girlfriend or husband or wife, whatever they call them, they are not lipstick lesbians. So everybody knows what that means. Okay. So now, one of the problems in the black neighborhood is that a lot of the black men have no fathers. Okay. They don't have a father. So what do? They go to the gangs become their father. That's their family. And they live and die. And I mean die by the gang. Now, how you make money with a gang? You sell drugs. You do extortion. You commit crimes. And that's what they're doing. Now, the other problem they have is that I am the Trey Street magicians, whatever name they want to call. And the other guys are the Boogaloo blacks. Well, you're on my corner. I sell drugs on this corner. Oh, no. That's our corner. No, it's our corner. And what do you got? They take out their 9mm and they shoot at each other. And they miss. And they kill innocent people. How many young black kids and black women have been shot accidentally? Bullets go right through their window. Now, they want cops. They want the police. But they have to be quiet, because if they say anything, they might have retaliation by the gangs. So you have a really vicious cycle. Now, I keep bringing this up all the time. Under Giuliani, as a mayor of New York City, 2 terms, and then Bloomberg, who carried forward Giuliani's program, the crime rate dropped precipitously, and we had a very safe city. We had one of the safest large cities in the world. What happened is we got Democratic mayor, de Blasio, ruined the city, ruined it. His wife, first lady of the city, has 27 assistants. Where do you get 27 assistants when you're the mayor's wife? She put all her friends on payroll. They're just pissing money away. Now, she started a thing called Thrive, supposed to be for mental health. Close to $850 million to almost $1 billion they took. And they can't even explain where the money went. How come nobody's invested? How come the Attorney General, Tisha another Democrat, I'm sorry. Well, how come Vance Cyrus, the DA, he's a Democrat. I'm sorry, I should have brought that up. How come they're not investigating these? I call them thefts of service, thefts of incompetency. No, they're not. They don't want to. They don't want to catch. They don't want to find the truth. Okay. I'm like, you know. Now, the other problem we're going to have in this country is the border. The border has so many people coming in because Biden made it an open border, and he's walking back on us because now he wants to finish the wall because he stopped building the wall. He realized that that's another weak link for people coming in. Now the cartels are making tons of money. They get paid by the coyotes. Everybody knows what a coyote is. He's a person that brings people over to the border. He gets paid. Now, all these people are so poor, but how do they get $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to give a coyote to go across a little river on a boat, on a raft? They've been doing it on rafts, and coming into the car, and that's it. I don't know how they do it. Well, the cartels have been caught by the border guards. However, how many have been getting thrown through? So many have been going through. Now, what do? You got retail and wholesale. Now the cartels are wholesalers. Okay, let's talk. Let's be capitalist. Okay, so they're wholesalers. They wholesale to all the drug dealers. Let's say in the West Coast, and then it travels eastward. Okay, so now the cartel, they set up shop. I use the word shop loosely. They set up shop in L.A., San Francisco, any of the cities there, and they say, well, why should we wholesale to these? Why don't we just sell it directly? So they set up their own shops. Now, the other gangs, which are usually black, take exception to that. They say, wait a minute, we've been here. We're making money here. We're buying from you. No. We're gonna open up our own thing here. So what are you gonna have? You're gonna have violence. You're gonna have shootouts. That's what's going on in the cities now. All these black on black crimes are all related to drugs. These are all drug dealers and gangs. They're taking over territories. It goes back to the days of the mafia, the Italian mafia. They had the same thing. They took over different sections. They had, matter of fact, go back to the Al Capone days with the Italians and the Irish in Chicago with bootlegging. Okay, and by the way, bootlegging was really brought up by the Kennedys. John, the husband, the father, Joe Kennedy. He was in bed with all the gangsters and everything, and then his sons become president, and they become senators, and they all of a sudden they're lily white bullshit. That's why they got whacked. Like they got whacked because of what? I don't want to get into that. That could be another show. Okay, so I hope I pissed off enough people today. Okay, all right. One thing I have to bring up. Today, I saw in a paper today that the two guards in the federal prison, MCC, Metropolitan Correction Facility, in New York City, they were housing Epstein, and Mr. Epstein happened to have a necktie party in the middle of the night. Now, he was under strict rules every half hour they were supposed to check up on him. Well, they didn't because they said they were playing video games. I don't know how to play video games in jail, but I guess they had their little whatever tablet, whatever. So now today I read that they pled guilty to whatever dereliction of duty, whatever they did, and all they got was house arrest or community service. They're not going to jail. Now, I don't think that he committed suicide. I think, and a lot of people think, he was killed. I'll tell you why. Because on his Lolita Express, which is his airplane, and his little Paradise Island, he had this is FAA records. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton were there. Prince Andrew. Now, Prince Andrew got a lot of bad feedback from his family in England because I guess they know he's a pedophile. Okay, and I'm telling you, he's a pedophile. You could sue me, Andrew. Bill Gates. They just came out recently that he's hanging out with Epstein, and Justice John Roberts, U.S. Supreme Court, and there are many others. Matter of fact, I also read another article in the business section of the paper that Leon Black, who has the billionaire, he tried to get Epstein as a consultant for his company. I forgot, he paid him a lot of money. I forgot for what. And so his partners said, "Hey, we don't want to have anything to do with this guy." They were stand-up guys. So Leon Block just resigned, and one of his partners took over. And what do we have here? We got pedophiles in Washington, D.C., in Hollywood. You got guys like Kevin Spacey, a talented actor, singer, whatever, and he's got jammed up with a 16-year-old boy. I mean, all right, listen, let's bring Ed in because I'm getting a little carried away with myself. All right, Ed, come on in.
Do I have to? I'm a little scared to come in. Oh, you are on a roll. Let me tell you. I am not touching half of what you said.
All right,
but
touch on something else.
I have to. Yeah, sure. You bring me in on the Lolita Express and talk about touching something else.
I was going to bring you on.
You know, let's go back to the two guards. They pled guilty to falsifying their report.
Yeah.
The report said that they made their checks. They're supposed to check on them. I think it was 2 times every hour or 2 times every half hour.
Something like that, yeah.
And instead they were on the internet shopping, playing games, and just doing what most of them do when they're sitting there for 24 hours or 12 hours straight, which, all right, we get it. Now, if Epstein did kill himself, then that's one thing. But if Epstein didn't kill himself, that's a totally different issue because then there's somebody else that was in that jail.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, and either those guys did or somebody else. But since there's no way of getting that proof because apparently those cameras seem to not work, then, you have to go with the benefit of the doubt. And the benefit of the doubt at this time is that those guys were derelict in their job. And I'm not saying it's right, but that's what they got. They're going to get smack on the hands. Okay.
Now, do you think that they should have gotten charged for, well, they can't charge him for aiding and abetting his murder because they haven't proved it was a murder. They have it down as a suicide.
Well, even if it was a suicide, they could be charged with endangerment. Reckless endangerment. They could be, because their job was to watch him. He was on a suicide watch, so they should have done their job. So if anything, they should have been fired and lose their pensions. If you don't want to charge them criminally,
yeah.
But let's put it this way: if it was anybody else, what would happen? If it wasn't Epstein, and unfortunately, there's a lot of kids that have been in the court system. Ooh, what is that?
No, never mind.
Is that your car?
Yeah, it's my car. Someone's robbing my car. Someone's stealing my car.
So, how many people? And this is the problem. Not with. Once we did this whole thing with the prisons and we privatized them. That's where things started to, I think, really go bad. I think we should have kept them under the state. I think it should be a federal thing. I don't think we should privatize them.
They're not privatized.
No, well, I'm talking about other suicides and stuff like that. That the guards, the people that are hired, you can walk off the street and they'll give you a gun and tell you go in there because let
me tell you, my experience with the federal guards are much better than the state guards. They have to take a test. The federal, right. They're a little higher up on the food chain than the ones from the state. The state, they're real rednecks. And trust me, I know from experience.
Been to college recently? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. I'm on vacation up in Gowanda. But I got to tell you, and then I've taken some police courses with federal officers. They're a little more intelligent. They have a little bit more thing. But you got bad apples in every group. In every bushel of apples, there's a couple of bad apples. And I would love to investigate the two Dodds and see how much money they got put away in their bank account, or if they were smart, they wouldn't put it in their bank account. They put it offshore someplace.
Well, I know a lot of New York City correction officers, and I think they're some of the toughest. I mean, to have to deal with some of the crap that these got to deal with, especially in the city,
Yeah, well,
is and let's put it this way: nobody's getting support anymore. You brought up the De Blasio's first lady and all the money that's disappearing, and you brought up the attorney general. What's her name?
Tisha Adams.
That's the one. Sorry, I don't remember her name.
She was a public advocate, and then she jumped up to the. There was nobody else to go for governor, so she went for attorney general, and she went and got it.
Well, they just decided, what was it, today or yesterday, that they're going to proceed with criminal charges against Trump for something stupid, probably. And even the media is going. The same media that hung him or were trying to hang him are saying, really?
Enough is enough.
What is this going to turn into, another Russiagate? How much more money and time are we going to spend? And you're right. We're looking at him saying, oh, well, he cheated on his taxes. Like, is there anybody in this country who voted for Trump that is sitting there going, I'm going to vote for him because I know he's 100% legit on his taxes? First of all, Vinny, when you pay taxes, and I'm not saying you don't, but back in the days when you were making all this money and you paid taxes, did you do your taxes?
No, I had an accountant do it.
Exactly. So you think a guy who's got millions of dollars is actually doing his taxes?
No.
Or is he paying people to do them? Right. That's first of all. Second of all,
he's got really good accountants.
Right. And the other thing is, I think people seem to forget, for their hatred, what income tax really is. Income tax is money that you make, not money that you have. So if I have $1 million that I made this year, I'm going to pay tax on $1 million. Okay. Right. I put that $1 million in the bank or do whatever I'm going to do with it. The next year, I don't make $1 million. I make $200,000. I don't pay tax on $1,200,000. I pay tax on the $200,000. That's what income tax is. I'm paying on the income tax of $200,000. My $1 million is still sitting underneath my mattress. Nobody come to my house and steal it. It's mine. But I'm only going to pay tax on that $200,000. So they're like, oh, well, he's a millionaire. He should be paying more tax. He only paid $750. I only made $200,000. And to make that $200,000, I spent maybe $150,000. So I didn't make $200,000 after my deductions. I may only made, $125 or something. But they don't tell you this. They just go right for, oh my God, look, he's bleeding. We got to cut him. That kind of thing.
Well, some of his taxes became a public record. I don't know if you know that. The year, not the year of the 750, the 2 years prior that he paid more taxes than he had to. That's called a carry forward. Now, I'm a certified fraud examiner, so I work for the accounting board as an investigator. Not that I can't even balance my own checkbook, but I know how to find money. No, don't give me those eyes. But what happens is, I had a lot of clients that did that. They purposely pay extra. They say, you know what? I've got to pay $5 million. I'll pay 5.2. They keep that extra, and then it's called money carried forward. And then they use it for the next year. They use it for the next year's taxes. That year that he paid $750, he was paid up. That's right. Why he only.
But that doesn't fit into their narrative. They're not going to tell you all that stuff. And they think that most Americans are stupid, and you know what? Unfortunately, I think we're proving them right to an extent, because nobody's paying attention to anything that's going around. Now, to give you even one better, to go a step, for all those people that see, I feel, and this is personal, maybe I'll piss off a bunch, nobody actually voted for Biden. I think they just all voted against Trump.
Yeah.
So I heard somewhere somebody say that there's no Biden supporters, just Trump haters.
I have to agree with that.
And I laughed when I heard that, but then I sat back and thought about it, and I said, well, maybe it's right. Biden has just finished putting the nail in the coffin of everything he ran on. He is now not going to do any of this stuff. They pushed, you talked about the anniversary of George Floyd, which was yesterday.
Right.
And he swore that he was going to have police reform by then. There's no police reform. He brushed it off, kind of went to the side. His infrastructure bill, that's kind of being pushed off. And instead of the September 30th deadline that they had, they kind of moved it to 2022. They said, we're not going to worry about getting any kind of relief bills in this budget. We'll put it off to the next budget. So pretty much there's nothing left. He turned around and flat out denied, stopped any kind of what is it called? Negotiations to lower the cost of drugs, prescription drugs. There's not going to be, he decided that there's not any work that needs to be done on the healthcare reform. So there's not going to be any public option that he promised. So pretty much everything that he ran on, he has just finished and legitimately said it's not happening. And what a lot of people are realizing or saying is, okay, so he's the kind of guy, the quiet, and he even tells you, I am a transitional president. The only problem is nobody knows what we're transitioning to. So he's not making any waves. He's making everybody kind of happy. And by doing that, he's pissing everybody off because nothing is getting done. And what's going to happen is come the midterm elections, you're going to see where either all of a sudden he's going to try and start doing stuff that he promised that he was going to do and never did, or he's going to blame other people. And it's going to get interesting to see what happens.
Well, this is supposed to be law and disorder. We keep talking about politics. I mean,
what's one without the other?
Yes. Yeah, all right. Joe DeFilippo, Elijah Muhammad vis-a-vis the infighting and BLM. He likes that topic that we brought up.
Well, good. Then he can come on the show.
Yeah, Joe.
And he could sit here and he could spout all the rhetoric. I personally am tired of giving them they only have the power that we give them.
No, they have the power that Obama gave them by bringing them into the White House. When he brought them into the White House, he legitimized their organization. Okay, they're an arm of the Democratic Party. Okay, the Nazis in Germany had the brown shirts. Remember?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So he's got the BLM. That's who they're. Every group. What did the Bolsheviks have? The Bolsheviks had the. I can't think of the
Cossacks.
What?
The Cossacks, wasn't it? The Cossacks.
No. It begins with an S. It's the same bullshit. Every power group has to have a muscle. Okay, they all have muscle, and the muscle is now. Listen, look what the BML did with the rioting all over these cities in this last summer, and continue.
There was no riots; they were all peaceful protests.
Yeah, they were peaceful. Meanwhile, buildings are burning up. Okay. I actually met in my gym. I saw a guy with a BLM shirt. I said, "Hey, would you like to go on my?" Oh, he gave me this look like I'm not. They don't. Half of them don't even know why they're in there. It's a thing to do, just like Antifa. Do you ever see the people in Antifa? They are snowflakes, but they get ballsy. They've been in their mother's basement.
What?
They have an organization that can do something.
And so, as I said, they only have the power we give them because we allow them. or if anybody ever stood up and said enough is enough, which
Well, the ones
I
that
believe
stood
is
up,
starting to happen.
the ones that stood up, I can't mention their name because I got in trouble for saying it, but there was a group that they're considered white supremacists. They actually had fights with Antifa. Matter of fact, we had a woman on our show who videotapes all these crazy things, and she's a little crazy herself to do it, and they protected her because she would get her ass kicked by Antifa because they have no ball. They will never fight somebody man to man, mano a mano. They always hit people behind. They actually come up and hit people, sucker punch them. Now,
Well,
listen,
did you see that video from the other day? They're trying to find this guy. He walked up, and this is what I'm talking about. We're empowering this. They have video of this guy walking up behind somebody with a big pole, a plastic, like a cone divider, and hitting somebody in the head from behind, and then running off.
That's what they do. They're punks. They're cowards.
And this is what's going on in New York City. But we're gonna happy.
Okay, we at 7:30 we have a very important sponsor on the show. We have to show that's Vinny Parco.
Shameless pugs.
We got to sell something here. All right, now whoever's watching this, I already got people buying. I got a lot of people buying. Mafia double crosses about the mafia are the good guys. They kill a bunch of terrorists, and the FBI is standing there with their thumbs up their ass. Investigations After Dark is the true stories of all my divorce cases. I have tons of divorce cases, and I'm very explicit in how I describe these cases. So if you want to read a book that is not considered X-rated, but I don't know, I think it's kind of X-rated. And then my favorite book is from the Detective's Kitchen. It's recipes that I learned in cooking school, and I used it when I was on surveillances with my staff because I couldn't go out on surveillances because I'm too well known. So I had them do it, and I had to cook for them because when you're on a surveillance, you really can't go to McDonald's, something like that. You gotta stay close to the subject. So that's what I did, and I got a new book coming out. That's my daughter's company, which used to be my company, but she took it over. She pushed me out. No, she's very good. And wait till you hear the new book we got called Rogue PI. It's about my high profile cases, and I'm a little worried about some of the things that I put in there. I might get in trouble again.
I'm a little more concerned about the book of all your divorces. How many times did you get divorced, Vinny? And yet the people keep marrying you.
No, I never got divorced. I was married one person. Unfortunately, she passed away, and I've been single all these years. And
what a surprise!
Women feel bad for me because I'm a widower, and I use that very sneakily. All right, let's go back to our topics tonight. Okay.
I like this topic better. It's safer.
Which one? The divorce?
You getting divorced 1,000,000 times. So.
Well, I vicariously I got divorced through other people. And don't look at that one. Oh, one of the things that I wanted to bring up tonight, and we got to talk about it, is the stimulus bill has a provision in there where they are giving only money to black farmers, not whites, or the whites have to get on back of line. So they are earmarking money to buy 160 acres of land, a mortgage for the house on the land, a loan for the equipment, and training for 200,000 people. I don't think you're going to have 200,000 farmers, but so what they're doing is it's reparations. That's all it is. It's saying, well, we're going to give back money to the quote unquote people of victims of slavery. Not one of these people that are going to apply for or get the money were never slaves, and they probably don't even have relatives that were slaves. So, and none of the people that I know had slaves, except, oh, by the way, Kamala Harris's father is Jamaican. He had some slaves in Jamaica, but they don't want to talk about that. We don't talk about that.
How did we get from training to slavery?
Because that's their way of giving reparations.
You know what? Anybody who's got half a brain is not even going to attempt to do that, because what we've done to our poor farmers in the farming industry is we've destroyed them.
Yeah.
And the more money and the more stuff that we get, imported from other countries. These farmers are starving right now.
Guess who's buying up all the farmland? Bill Gates. And the Chinese have bought a lot of it too. Whoever controls the food controls the population. Remember that. Now, there's another thing. There's one more thing that I've left out, and I got to tell you this. A number of farmers, white farmers, I have to use that word, white farmers, have filed lawsuits, and the federal judge has put a stop to this program. I don't know if you know that. Put a temporary stop on it, and they're gonna have a hearing, a trial, or whatever. And it's unconstitutional for that. That's the basis for the lawsuit. That it's unconstitutional to favor one ethnic or one group against another. It's against our Constitution, and that's what they're doing. Now you got to remember, Biden doesn't do anything. He's told to do this stuff, and he's got people that are real leftists, and they're telling him what to do. And he's yeah, all right, okay, I'll do it, because he can't argue. He can't even think. He's like unbelievable. I don't want to get into it. We're not talking about Biden today, but this farm thing that they're getting is going to be like what Obama had with Soledar. Remember Soledar? The energy company gave him almost $1 billion, $500 million. They went bankrupt within a few months. Who took where did all the money go to? Where did that money go to?
It went to Bill Gates. What do you think it went to?
Bill Gates, yeah. Bill Gates really needs the money.
Or it went to Epstein, one of the two.
By the way, Bill Gates is he's not even listed as the richest man in the world. He's like number 4. You realize that? Elon Musk, yeah. Is that terrible? I feel so bad for him. Let's have a GoFundMe for him.
Well, yeah. Yeah, well, you know what? He's going to drop down a lot lower, too, when his divorce is finished.
Well, listen, look at Bezos.
How much is she going to take?
Well, he didn't have a prenup. You know why? They got married when he was when he was poor, just starting up. So there was no reason for a prenup.
Oh, so he got married when they were stealing the stuff from Apple. Got it.
Right, yes. And the same thing with Bezos. He didn't have a prenup with his wife, but they were together since the beginning.
Oh, that's right. He's getting married too. Yeah, well, but you killed her.
Your wife when you were married?
No. Of course I did.
You did?
Yeah, it was very simple. We signed a paper that said what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine. That's it. And when you leave, it's still mine.
Seriously, that's a good problem. You're married. You get married when you're in your 20s. You have a good marriage. You have kids. You have everything, and you build up a business unbelievably successful. And you never thought of, because at that point, if you tell a wife when you built up a business, oh, let's have a prenup. So wait a minute, what prenup? We're married. It's not a prenup. It's a postnup.
Yeah, but see, Vinny, you're forgetting something, and I'm surprised considering all the divorces that you've been through.
I didn't go through them. I facilitated them. I wasn't divorced.
Whatever. Tomato. That's okay. But the argument is there's no prenup. But even if you had a prenup, the prenup says that everything the person with the most money came into the relationship is his. But it does not exclude anything that happens from the time they get married and build up. So technically, she's entitled to it because she was with him during that whole phase of building this empire. So she is technically part of it, and so is Beazle or whatever the hell his name is.
Well, that's why divorce lawyers get a lot of money, because that is a bone of contention. At some point in time, they're going to get divorced, and they say, okay. During our marriage, we had a business. We had a shirt company, and the shirt company did very well, and we made $25 million. Okay, during that the wife is entitled to half of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Now he has property from before they got married that he had from his family. She can't touch that. Okay, we agree on that. And
I mean, she can try.
Well, they could, yeah.
A bitter woman's going to go after everything you got, including your underwear.
Well, what if you don't wear underwear?
That's poor for you, because then she's going for the next thing that's hanging there. Snip.
Is this a comedy show? This is Law and Disorder.
I'm disordered. You're being lawful. I'm disorderly. You're lawful. There you go.
But
Though you're the one that's getting divorced all this time. So.
well, they're very interesting divorces. I got to tell you something. Going into brothels to investigate the guys getting stooped. All right, going into massage parlors and catching the guy. We've had cases in the book where the woman, the wife, was a massage therapist, and she told the husband, "No, I just massage. I don't do anything." And then we had to send guys undercover. Of course, I went a couple times myself. And we had to go in there and get massaged. And if they did anything untoward to us, we had to report that.
After they finished.
No. I had one that was a dyslexic. She only gave you a happy beginning, not a happy ending.
Oh. Is this show over yet?
But seriously, we had a lot of good cases, a lot of interesting cases. I mean, divorce cases are not really fun. They're sad. I mean, people breaking up a marriage, whatever. But when the husband is going out with a guy and the wife thinks he's gay, and we found out he's not gay, they're having threesomes in a hotel, and we had to prove it. We had to get pictures of that.
Wait, is he having a threesome with another guy?
Yeah, but then
he's gay.
Yeah, I know. The girl, yeah, I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too. We're gonna get any comments about this.
Oh, and technically, for everybody who's listening, Vinny just gave you an exclusive tip. If you get caught in a massage parlor or any place else, just say you're undercover trying to catch this person's wife or husband, and they'll let you go. Now you know how to get out of it.
It's talking about law and crime. Let's talk as a crime. When we did that, we were hired by the landlord. The landlord said, "Look, I gave him a lease for a nail salon, and all of a sudden they're giving everybody a happy ending. So I want to get rid of them." We would go in and write a report and give it to the police department's vice unit. They would use that as probable cause and went in and busted them. We did that so many times. I mean, when I say bust them, now what do? They bring them in, they give them a fine. They don't even put them in jail for that.
I don't know. You're sitting here telling me you're a rat. I'm not sure.
No. We get paid.
You want some cheese? You want some cheese?
I had some cheese.
Okay. Was it good mozzarella?
I want the general public that's listening to the show to know what really goes on.
The general public that's listening to the show, Vinny wants you to know he was a paid rat. And he used to get a lot of massages, and he went through a lot of divorces. Okay,
let's go. All right. Now, here's one other thing that I wanted to talk about tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, this cancel culture is going out of control.
I hate this cancel culture.
A black professor in Juilliard, a very good school that I never went to Juilliard, but when I used to hang out at the Marino, I used to play the bongos with the band, and that's the only thing I know how to do. And I should tell people I went to Juilliard for 4 years to learn how to play the bongos. But he had a class on. Okay, he had a class on roots to rap or something like that, and it's a drama class in Juilliard. And he's a black professor, very sharp guy, very smart guy. And he said, if anybody has a problem with this, I want to, give me text him. This one girl in the class made a beef. They canceled the class. The cancel culture is affecting the people. It's affecting everybody. Matter of fact, Chris Rock, I love that the comedian. He said, comedians have to be very careful nowadays. They have to be careful what they say, because if they're insulting somebody, but comedians do that. Look at Don Rickles. He made a career out of insulting people, but people liked it because he could not do that nowadays. Oh, no.
No, because people had a sense of humor and they weren't so thin-skinned. We raised a bunch of babies that do not understand, which I don't understand, because if you lived during the 80s, that was like the decade of decadence. And these kids.
All of my cases are in the 80s, by the way. I just want you to say that.
Yeah, that would make sense. And these kids are all from kids of that generation. So why they're so prima donnas, I'll just never forget. I was watching today. Somebody posted on Facebook. I'm surprised if he doesn't have an account anymore. Um, an old Archie Bunker episode of
Okay.
All in the Family, and it was when Archie was in the hospital and he got his gallbladder removed, and the doctor who saved his life to give him a blood transfusion was a black woman. So, and if anybody knows who All in the Family is or who Archie Bunker is, we all know how back in the 70s, the way they went. That whole episode was about him having black blood and all the changes that he's going to have. If they even attempted to
Do that
make that
nowadays?
joke now,
Forget about it.
there would be protests from every person in the world. And the funny thing that is about this is that the only people who would be protesting would be all little white people, especially white women. You know, again, I said this before. If you're offended about something that has nothing to do with you, you need to get a serious life.
Well, a
Let
lot
the
of
people who
don't
are
have,
offended.
they don't have serious lives. That's the problem.
Well, maybe we need to start training people again. You know, we the stupidity, as I said before, stupidity. You
Okay, what
brought
about?
up you brought up the defunding the police. Let's get to law and disorder. Okay, so why we are defunding the police and all these protests that were going on that were peaceful protests and not riots. January 6th, this day that will live in infamy, apparently, this horrible day of January 6th of the insurrection of the world. The Congress decided that they need more cops. So they just passed a $1.9 million or $1 billion. Let me see. I don't remember if it was a M or a B. I'll tell you right now. Billion. A 1.9 billion capital security bill to bring in more police. What happened to the defunding? So the poor cities, the cities with all the crime, the cities with New York, Chicago, California, they have to defund their police. We need less cops there because, I don't know, there's less people.
Because
But they need more police for their capital city police.
Because they want to be protected.
Because they want to be protected. So fences don't work, but they have a fence around the Congress. They
Did
have
they take it
fences
down
around.
yet? Did they take it down?
They're starting to. They just released the National Guard, so there's no more tanks and National Guard on the streets anymore. Considering we're in May and this happened in January.
By the way, you know, Nancy Pelosi was asked by Trump if she could have more police, more National Guard. She turned them down, and that came out recently. But my gut feeling is they wanted this to happen.
Yes.
And you had BLM and you had Antifa. And I know people. Joe Croce was there with his wife. They saw these people. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of the people there, and I'm going to be very frank about it. Some of the people there were a lot more Trump supporters. Let's face it. That's why they were there. And some of them were a little extreme. There's no two ways about it. But that guy got paid $70,000 to take videos of this whole thing. Why do you think he got $70,000? Because he fermented this whole thing. If there was no trouble, he wouldn't have made any money. And he was part of, I think, BLM or one of those. To me, they
BLM.
BLM.
But that's, you know what? It's not that they wouldn't make any money. Is they needed the narrative. They needed to paint Republican. Yeah. But now it's backfiring because the more they keep doing this stuff, the more they're keeping Trump in the limelight.
Yeah.
You know, the more they keep using this as a way to fund things. Trump's going, well, I guess I'm going to run in 2024. And now he's saying things like that because he knows it's pissing him off. So they're giving him all the attention he wants and loves and lives for.
He lives for that, yeah.
And he's sitting back laughing, and these guys are running around doing, which is what I was trying to say before. The power people have are only what we give them. If nobody gave a crap about Trump, he'd be off in his little world, and nobody would hear anything, and we'd be all concentrating on the wrong shit that's happening now. But it's smoke and mirrors. Let's divert the attention to wherever we can. And with BLM and Antifa and the Democrats, their job was to create as much mass hysteria as possible and paint narratives. And shame on the media.
I got to add something. I was talking to Joe DeFelice before, and Julius Caesar always said divide and conquer. And that's what they're doing. That's what the left is doing, divide and conquer.
They've already divided a long time ago.
Yeah, well.
I mean, even Cuomo, I hate saying that name. Even Cuomo said the other day during his speech when he was talking about passing a budget, and he says, do you know how hard it was to pass a budget? We managed to do it for New York. When he says, New Yorkers have the most, if you're on the right, you are the extreme right. And if you're on the left, you're so far on the left in this state that you're socialist. And they call themselves socialist. So now socialist has become an okay word. I remember not too long ago where if you said socialist or that you were on the investigations, and you were condemned for even saying the word socialist. Now we're calling socialist as a normal. Oh, it's normal. Oh, he's a socialist. Don't worry about him. Oh yeah, he's from the Socialist Party.
Look at the curriculum in the schools now. They teach you Marxist, the theory of Marxist. One of the young kids, I forgot what state it was. They had. Now I'm not against. Listen, I'm pretty liberal as far as certain things. They had a
divorces.
They had a transvestite teaching kids about sex and stuff like young kids, and I don't think it's right. I mean, I learned. How did you learn from? I learned from sex on the street, like everybody else. We learned from our friends. But you can't teach young kids about sex in school.
Why not? You never took sex ed? I did.
Yeah, but not
that it was any good, but
all right. Well, sex ed in high school maybe, but not in your grammar school.
I didn't take sex ed in high school. Sex ed in high school was more like diseases and other stuff.
Yeah, right. Well, let's not talk about diseases. This is this is not the health hazard here.
But I thought you were still in elementary school, Anthony. But
okay.
So yeah, no, sex ed, yeah, but isn't our attorney general?
What's that?
Or the general? Who's the one in charge of the health for the whole country? What is that? Is that the attorney general or the general?
No, surgeon general.
Surgeon general, isn't the surgeon general?
Well, I've had a very good one before. A black fellow who was a doctor. Now, out of the one they have now, I don't know who they have now. They have.
Isn't it that transvestite?
No, yeah, transvestite. No, she's not. She's not a surgeon general. She's health and hospital. Something with health and hospital. Something like. She's fat. She's overweight. She's ugly. She didn't. If you're going to wait. I got to tell you something. If you're going to become something that you're not, at least do it right. Okay.
Is that what? How do you do it?
The right hair. She has lousy hair. I mean, I don't know how we got to this. She's got.
You started with the transvestite teaching sex, so that's how we got to it.
Remember years ago they had this Mr. Potato and they had the thing Mrs. Potato. They had little pieces of clothes and you put them together. That's what they did with her. She looks like a potato anyway. So the clothes that she had, everything does not. She could have did a little better. She could have been a little bit more. I mean, she doesn't look like anything. She looks like a mess. Okay.
Well, I'm sure tomorrow when she wakes up, she's going to go, I need to dress up for Vinny so he at least thinks that.
I'll put her on the show. We'll put her on the show.
And yeah, I think, with all the stuff that she's got going on, I don't think, honestly, I don't know. She's an ugly man or a pretty woman or an ugly woman and a pretty man. Pick one.
An ugly man. She's ugly.
I don't think.
Remember, beauty's only skin deep, but ugly is to the bone.
Yeah. Look, here's where we're at with that. It's very simple. Forget cancel culture, because cancel culture is kind of sliding. Cancel culture is being replaced with the whole identity politics, and that's what they use cancel culture to slide the identity politics in. But now the identity has gone beyond politics. So what happens is now you are hired on your job, not based on your skills, not based on your qualifications, but only or talent, but only based on what you were born with. If you're born a woman, if you were born a minority, you get first crack at everything. You could be the worst at it, but because you fall into this category, we are going to hire you. And where it's actually happening the most is in Hollywood. Because if you look at a lot of the movies, that's the way they're doing it. They're not hiring people because based on their talents. They're hiring people based on their gender or the things that they were born with.
It's called diversity.
Yeah. Well,
the Screen Actors Guild, I think, the Screen Actors Guild, you cannot get an Academy Award for a movie now unless you follow the criteria that they follow. You have to have a certain ethnicity in each movie. Now, I don't understand how that works. If you have a script about a certain group, and you can't put other people in that group because it doesn't follow through. For example, if you have a movie about let's say Polynesian, the movie about Hawaii, Polynesia, Fiji Island, something like that. If you put some certain people in it might look good, but it might not fit into the script. But you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to.
Well, once you got the Polynesians, you're covered because you got all kinds of minorities right there. But you can't throw in any white people because then that'll just screw up the movie. Right. But we can turn the characters and make them a women, and we can't let them be beat by anything. They have to be stronger than everybody in the entire movie. So we by doing this, we've learned to isolate. We have no emotional contact with any of the people that we're watching anymore because they've put these barriers of these unwritten laws into it, and we're no longer feeling. We're no longer rooting for the hero because the hero is not emotional to us because there's no storyline.
Speaking of heroes. John Cena, the big wrestling star.
There you go. There was your segue for you.
Okay, very good segue. He apologized to China for saying that Taiwan was a country. Taiwan is a country. And he's getting a lot of flack on the internet about that. A lot of people saying, what the hell's the matter with you? Because they make so much money in movies in China that he has to kiss their ass. I think Fast and Furious made $165 million in China. The last one that they made, made a lot of money. And
so wait, why? Because they make a lot of money in China. Why does he have to kiss their ass?
They just did a movie. They're releasing it called Fast and Furious #9.
You know what? Screw them. We shouldn't give them the movies. They're making all this money on the movies because they enjoy what they're watching. Maybe we shouldn't give it to them.
The movie company's making the money, and
that's what I'm saying.
In China. In the United States, they're making money too, but not as much.
So, you know what? If China wants to be a pain in the ass, we'll say, screw you. We're not going to give you our movies anymore. Make your own. Well, they've been living with their Chinese kung fu movies for 100 years.
Put the money up for these movies. What do you think? They're making this an investment for them?
Well, yeah.
They're investing all over the place. Now, I got to tell you what's going to happen. And I'm saying this optimistically. They are going to do like what a lot of empire, I don't even call it an empire, but with a lot of countries that you go back in time with Egypt, they were phenomenal civilization. The Greeks, all these things. England had they ran the whole world at one time. After a while, you start eating up your own. You start eating yourself up, and they're going to do that. They're going to expand too much. And you're gonna see what's gonna happen.
Yes, but how many years? But how many years did it take?
Well, it took a lot of. It's gonna take a while.
Think about the Roman Empire.
My favorite topic.
The one you left out for some reason.
The one I left out.
I don't know
All
why
right,
you
listen,
didn't.
we got it's almost time to go. We're having a lot of fun tonight. We have a good. Only the two of us. We missed. Joe was out and Courtney was
He's
out.
hiding, is what he did.
He's hiding, right? He's But as we say in Little Italy, sempre noi, always with us. And I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank Ed. I don't know if I want to thank you. I tolerate you. You tolerate
Don't
me.
thank me.
And I want to
It's
thank
okay.
Anthony Grifo. And I had a lot of fun tonight. We had good thing. And next week we're gonna have different guests. Next, we're gonna have somebody from Black Lives Matter on the show. Nah, we're not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nah. They won't go on the show. Nah. We'll have the woman that bought $1 million home in L.A. See what she has to say.
I think we should get the one that was shot in the head and see what she has to say.
Yeah, well, she's recuperating. She didn't die.
No,
No.
thank God. You know, it's a shame that it's going to get like that. But it's 8:01.
Goodbye. Good night.
Have a good night. Buy the book. See how many divorces Vinny had.